and open up. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Praise the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Praise the Lord God of Israel, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Today's scripture reading comes from the book of John, chapter 1, verses 1 through 4. In the beginning was the Word.
In the beginning was the Word.
And the Word was with God.
And the Word was with God.
And the Word was God.
And the Word was God.
The same was in the beginning with God.
The same was in the beginning with God.
All things were made by him.
All things were made by him.
And without him was not anything made that was made.
And without him was not anything made that was made.
In him was life.
In him was life.
And the life was the light of men.
And the life was the light of men.
May the Lord add a blessing to the reading, hearing, and doing of his word. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Okay, we're going to have a selection from the solo choir.
Happy Sabbath. Sometimes we have to be reminded of what's really important. This is not a time to get distracted. This is not a time to go off course. This is not a time to lose your focus. Got a work to do for the Lord, and you cannot afford to lose your way. Come too far from where you started. So please don't let this time you sown be wasted on things you'll later regret, wishing you never had, once you realize it wasn't worth it. Salvation is too important to give up for anything. This is not a time to get distracted. And this is not a time to go off course. Hey, this is not a time to lose your focus. Got a work to do for the Lord, and you cannot afford to lose your way. Come too far from where you started. Please don't let this time that you spent be wasted on things you'll later regret, wishing you never had, once you realize it wasn't worth it. Salvation is too important to give up for anything. Salvation is too important to give up for anything, anything. Come on, y'all. Say it ain't about that crook skirt. Say it ain't about that job. Say it ain't about that girl. Say that it ain't about that God. Salvation, salvation, salvation. Too important side of temptation, waiting on the other side of this test. Is everything you prayed for, everything you wanted, everything that you said you'll get. Waiting on the other side, temptation, waiting on the other side of this test. Everything you hope for, prayed for, and everything that he said you'll get. Hold on, never let go. Hold on, it's just that close. Hold on, it's really, really close. Hold on, hold on, really, really close. Hey, never let go. Hold on, hold on. I can see the finish line. It's just a matter of time. Victory is right away. Hey, so I'ma get ready. The victory is really close. So I'ma get ready. Hold on. Waiting on the other side, temptation. Waiting on the other side of this test. Everything you prayed for, everything you hoped for, everything that he said you'll get. Praise the Lord. Most High God.
Okay, let's get a choir another hand. Beautiful selection. Sister Trina's back. Praise to the Most High God, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Peace to everyone that's here today in the name of Jesus. Peace to everyone that's watching us on the internet. And it's good to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day. And like we always do, you know, we read out of the Bible, teach out of the Bible. And as the Lord's feast days come to an end, you know, man's folly days kick into overdrive. So as they come up, we have to deal with them. And today's lesson is, you know, observe the harvest festivals given by God, because the Lord gave us a harvest festival to observe. And like always, man, you know, he has to do a counterpart to what God set up so he can do his own thing. And then everything that man comes up with to oppose God, he has to come up with a God to go with it. So we're going to deal with a little, you know, Thanksgiving, because that's one of those days where, you know, it's probably the last thing that we have to make a choice on, you know, whether to give up or not. Christmas, you know, no problem. Easter, no problem. But Thanksgiving, you know, there's an issue with that, because it's a harvest festival that man came up with, especially America. This is the last thing probably America came up with. They got to come up with their own harvest festival. But in the past, like we always have attended these Thanksgiving dinners, you know, everybody, you know, thanking the Lord and all the chitlins and all kind of stuff, the turkeys on the table and all this, you know, everybody thanking God, somebody praying, and, you know, so it's kind of like a religious thing, you know. But when it comes to Thanksgiving Day, it's like, what God are you thanking? And for what? Is it the God of Israel? Because if it was, you wouldn't be doing Thanksgiving Day and you wouldn't have them chitlins on the table. Or is it another Jesus or another God that you're thanking? So we're going to look at this Thanksgiving. We're going to look at some scriptures in the Bible. And we're going to see if it's one of those days that the Lord wants us to observe. Because it is a harvest festival. Don't take it away. It's a harvest festival. But the Lord gave us a harvest festival to observe. So you can't pretty much do the Lord's harvest festival and then go right on over and attend another Jesus harvest festival. And we got to draw the line somewhere. Either we're going to do what God says or we not. Because you can't do both. Because if you do both, you might as well not do God's, because you're going to be thrown in the lake of fire for doing both anyway. So choose one. Pick one or the other, so the Lord know where you stand. So observe the harvest festivals given by God. Stay away from man's tradition. We got a few scriptures, a little bit of history. And once the lesson is done, hey, you make the choice. Because I know some of y'all out there doing it. And I guarantee you they ain't trying to hear the word of God when you over there eating that turkey. Because why should you attend something for their Jesus and they don't want to attend nothing to honor the real Jesus? But let's look at it. Isaiah 5. We're going to get through this. Isaiah 5. Because we got to examine this, man, to make sure we're on the right page with the Lord. Does he really want us to observe this? Isaiah 5, and pick it up at verse 20. Because it's just like, people don't think Christmas is evil, but it is. It's just about on the satanic level as with Halloween, except in a different disguise. 5 and 20, read it.
Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil.
So woe unto them. That's not good when the Lord say woe to you, because you calling evil good. And that's what they're doing in the world today. Evil is good. Go ahead.
That put darkness for light and light for darkness. That put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. Woe unto them that are mighty to drink wine and men of strength to mingle strong drink, which justify the wicked for reward and take away the righteousness of the righteous from him.
So they justify the wicked. Justifying the wicked, man. How did the world come to that? Well, you get a pat on the back for being wicked. That means you good. Keep it up, brother. Do in as many people as you can. It's all right. Go ahead.
Therefore, as the fire devoureth the stubble, and the flame consumeth the chaff, so their root shall be as rottenness, and their blossom shall go up as dust, because they have cast away the law of the Lord of hosts, and despised the word of the Holy One of Israel.
So it can't be nothing good coming to the people that call good evil. The Lord say, the fire devour the stubble, the flame consume the chaff, and their root shall be what? It's rottenness. Because they have what? Cast away the law of the Lord of hosts, and despise the word. Hate it. Don't bring that Bible to me, man. I don't want to hear that. Tell me what you think. Flip over to Isaiah 24. Let's look at the State of the Union right now. (24 and 1). What it say?
Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof.
Don't look too good for the earth, do it. Or the people that's in the earth. Go ahead.
And it shall be, as with the people, so with the priests.
As with the people, with the priest. The priest is supposed to be leading the people in the righteous way. But he jacked up too. Go ahead.
As with the servant, so with his master. As with the maid, so with her mistress. As with the buyer, so with the seller. As with the lender, so with the borrower. As with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him.
So everybody's messed up. Go ahead.
The land shall be utterly empty and utterly spoiled, for the Lord hath spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The hardy people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof.
So the earth is defiled and the inhabitants are messed up to why?
Because they have transgressed the laws.
They broke the laws.
Changed the ordinance.
Changed the ordinance.
And broken the everlasting covenant.
And they broke the everlasting covenant. Broke it. In other words, they don't want to keep God's law. We want to make up our own thing, come up with our own holy days, Forget what the Lord say. So what's going to happen?
Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left.
The Lord going to burn it up when he come back. He tired of this. He drowned everybody the first time. And then he put that rainbow in the sky to remind him not to drown everybody again. But now he's going to burn it up when he get back. Go to Psalm 106. So we just laying down a little foundation before we get into the meat. Because I'm going to show you that them people that came up on the Mayflower, they had a Bible with them. They had one with them. We're going to read an excerpt out of it to let you know that they had Leviticus 23 up in there. And it says the same thing that we reading today. So they knew what harvest festivals to observe. 106:1, read it.
Praise ye the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Go ahead.
Oh, give thanks unto the Lord.
Give thanks to who?
The Lord.
The Lord. Why?
For he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Who can utter the mighty acts of the Lord? Who can shew forth all his praise? Blessed are they that keep judgment, and he that doeth righteousness at all times.
So blessed are they that keep judgment and do what? Righteousness some of the time.
At all times.
Half time.
At all times.
All the time. Go ahead.
Remember me, O Lord, with the favor that thou bearest unto thy people. O visit me with thy salvation, that I may see the good of thy chosen, that I may rejoice in the gladness of thy nation, that I may glory with thine inheritance. We have sinned with our fathers. We have committed iniquity. We have done wickedly. Our fathers understood not thy wonders in Egypt. They remembered not the multitude of thy mercies, but provoked him at the sea, even at the Red Sea.
So he kind of recalling what happened to Israel when they came out of Egypt. The Lord saved them, but then they went back door and started worshiping other gods. But the Lord still had mercy. Verse 8.
Nevertheless, he saved them for his name's sake, that he might make his mighty power to be known.
Nevertheless, he saved them for his name, because he gave Israel his name. Jacob's name was changed to Israel, so forth, the children of Israel, in other words, the children of God. And if you got some kids that's polluting your name, you're going to try to do your best to save them because your name is at stake. Because it's like every time, what if my kids was just bad all the time? Wife crazy. And like, what's your last May? May? Oh, you what? They ain't messing up my name. And that's what Israel is doing. They're messing up the Lord's name, but he saved them, and saved them, until finally he was like, look, I'm through with y'all. The name of Israel is going to be remembered no more. That's why we every other name than Israel. Keep reading, verse 15, I'm sorry.
And he gave them their request, but sent leanness into their soul. They envied Moses also in the camp, and Aaron the saint of the Lord.
Okay, 21. We're just doing a recap. 21, go ahead.
They forgot God their Savior, which had done great things in Egypt, wondrous works in the land of Ham, and terrible things by the Red Sea.
So they forgot God. Forgot him. Keep reading.
Therefore he said that he would destroy them, had not Moses his chosen stood before him in the breach, to turn away his wrath, lest he should destroy them.
So many times the Lord wanted to consume Israel in a moment, and he can do it. Keep reading.
Yea, they despised the pleasant land. They believed not his word, but murmured in their tents, and hearkened not unto the voice of the Lord. Therefore he lifted up his hand against them, to overthrow them in the wilderness, to overthrow their seed also among the nations, and to scatter them in the land.
So he got mad, scattered them in the land, messed the kids up. Go ahead.
They joined themselves also unto Baal Peor, and ate the sacrifices of the dead.
So they joined themselves to a pagan god. And whenever you come up with your own god, guess what? You got to come up with a feast day for them. What did Israel do when they made them golden calves? We're going to have a feast tomorrow. Keep reading. That's it. Skip down to 31 and read it. I mean 33. 34? Yeah, 34.
They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them, but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works.
So when they got into the land, the Lord told them to destroy everybody in there. Break down their altars, groves, all that stuff. But they didn't do it. And what happened? They mixed in with them. And when you mix in with another nation, you forget the God that you served. And you start serving their God. It never fails. You always want to be like them. Read some more.
And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. Yea, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils, and shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and of their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan. And the land was polluted with blood.
And it got so bad that Israel was killing their own kids. Sacrificing your own kids to a pagan god. 39, read it.
Thus were they defiled with their own works, and went a-whoring with their own inventions.
So they was defiled with their own works and went a-whoring with their own inventions. They started just making up stuff. I'm going to worship this dirt, the dirt god. It brings forth the crops. You know Israel, man. Let's go to Leviticus 23. Let's see some of the days that are holy to the Lord. See if we can find this Thanksgiving. But before we go there, I want to read this because y'all don't have this. I can only give y'all so much. I told you them pilgrims had a Bible, and it was called the Geneva Bible. Let's read about it. It was kind of like the forerunner to the King James. Read that.
Geneva Bible. The Geneva Bible is one of the most historically significant translations of the Bible into English, preceding the King James Version by 51 years. It was the primary Bible of the 16th century English Protestantism and was used by William Shakespeare, Oliver Cromwell, John Knox, John Donne, John Bunyan, author of the Pilgrim's Progress. It was one of the Bibles taken to America on the Mayflower.
So they had a Bible, these pilgrims. They had a Bible. You finished that? Yeah, read some more.
The Geneva Bible was used by many English dissenters, and it was still respected by Oliver Cromwell's soldiers at the time of the English Civil War in the booklet, Cromwell's Soldier's Pocket Bible.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good. So we know they had a Bible. Now let's go to Leviticus 23. And let's see some of the days that's holy to the Lord. Leviticus 23. We ain't going to read it all. But this brother going to read it out the Geneva Bible. And let's see what it say. 1 through 8, read it.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, The feast of ye Lord, which...
It's kind of that old English, so just bear with him. He gonna get it. Go ahead.
The feast of ye Lord, which ye shall call ye holy assemblies, even these are my feasts.
So we say the same thing, right? Feast of the Lord. Go ahead.
6 days shall work be done, but in the seventh day shall the Sabbath of rest.
So they know about the Sabbath too. Go ahead.
And holy convocation, ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. These are the feasts of the Lord, and holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. In the first month, and in the 14th day of the month, at evening shall be ye Passover of the Lord.
So they knew about that too. Go ahead.
And on the 15th day of the month shall be the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye shall eat unleavened bread.
So they knew about unleavened bread too. What else?
In the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. ye shall do no servile work therein. Also ye shall offer a sacrifice made by fire unto the Lord 7 days, and in the 7th day shall be in holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
So they knew about that too. First and 7th day of unleavened bread. Skip down to 15.
Ye shall count also to you from the morrow after the Sabbath, even from the day that ye shall bring the sheaf of the shake offerings. 7 Sabbaths they shall complete. Unto ye morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days. Then ye shall bring a new meat offering unto the Lord.
So they knew about Pentecost. 21, read that.
So ye shall proclaim the same day, that it may be in holy convocation unto the Lord. Ye shall do no servile work therein. It shall be an ordinance forever in all your dwellings throughout your generations. And when you reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not rid clean the corners of thy field when thou reapest, neither shalt thou make any after gathering of the harvest, but shalt leave them unto the poor and to the stranger. I am the Lord your God.
Okay, so they knew about that Pentecost. Keep reading. Let's see what else they knew. 23, yeah.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say, In the 7th month, in the 1st day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath for the remembrance of blowing the trumpets and holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but offer sacrifice made by fire unto the Lord. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, The tenth also of this 7th month shall be a day of reconciliation. It shall be in holy convocation unto you, and ye shall humble your souls, and offer sacrifice made by fire unto the Lord.
So we know that's atonement. They played a little bit on the words. We know what it is. You afflict your soul. Keep reading.
And ye shall do no work that same day, for it is a day of reconciliation, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God. For every person that humbleth not himself that same day shall even be cut off from his people. And every person that shall do any work that same day, the same person also will I destroy from among his people.
So they knew about atonement. You ain't supposed to work on that day. You're supposed to afflict your soul. We know humble and afflict is two different words, man. Humble, how can you get cut off for not being humble? Affliction is affliction. But keep reading. Go down to verse 33 and read it. Let's get to this harvest festival, which all of a sudden turned into Thanksgiving.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say, In the 15th day of this 7th month shall be for 7 days the feast of tabernacles unto the Lord.
So they knew about tabernacles. Go ahead.
In the 1st day shall be an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. 7 days ye shall offer sacrifice made by fire unto the Lord. And in the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you. And ye shall offer sacrifices made by fire unto the Lord. It is the solemn assembly. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
So they knew about the 8th day. Go ahead.
These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall call holy convocations, to offer sacrifice made by fire unto the Lord, as burnt offering and meat offering, sacrifice and drink offerings, every one upon his day, beside the Sabbaths of the Lord, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free offerings, which ye shall give unto the Lord. But in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a holy feast unto the Lord 7 days. In the 1st day shall be a Sabbath, likewise in the 8th day shall be a Sabbath.
So, 1st day, 8th day, holy feast they called it. Go ahead.
And ye shall take you in the 1st day of the fruit of the goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brook, and shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. So ye shall keep this feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year, by a perpetual ordinance through your generations. In the 7th month shall ye keep it.
So they knew this was supposed to be done forever. What else?
Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths, that your posterity may know that I have made the children of Israel to dwell in booths, when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Lord.
So these are the feasts of the Lord, holy days important to him. Passover, Sabbath day, Passover, unleavened bread, Pentecost, trumpets, atonement, tabernacles. And the eighth day too. Where does this Thanksgiving come from, man? Let's look at holiday. Look in the handout. I think y'all got it. Y'all got holiday up in there? Okay. This is out the dictionary. Holiday. We're going to read a little bit up top, and then we're going to read where it came from, how they messed it up. Holiday. What does it say?
A holiday is a day set aside by custom or by law.
A day set aside by custom or law. Go ahead.
On which normal activities, especially business or work, including school, are suspended or reduced.
On which day normal activities are reduced. You don't do things that you normally do on these days. We know how the Lord had all his high days set up. They Sabbath days. You ain't supposed to no servile work. What else?
Generally, holidays are intended to allow individuals to celebrate or commemorate an event or tradition of cultural or religious significance. Holidays may be designated by governments, religious institutions, or other groups or organizations. The degree to which normal activities are reduced by a holiday may depend on local laws, customs, the type of job held, or personal choices. The concept of holidays often originated in connection with religious observances. The intention of a holiday was typically to allow individuals to tend to religious duties associated with important dates on the calendar.
So that's what a holiday originated from. It's religious. Religious. Read.
In most modern societies, however, holidays serve as much of a recreational function as any other weekend days or activities.
So now they done took holiday and turned it into something else now. It can be, this is a holiday. That's a holiday. It's no more religion now because it's holiday now. But where did they get holiday from? Skip down to the etymology.
The word holiday comes from the Old English word holidog, holy day. The word originally referred only to special religious days.
So it came from what? Holy day. They referred to what? Just religious. But they got to take the Y and put an I. Take holy out of it and put holly. Like Christmas, right? Put it on your door. But read some more, man.
In modern use, it means any special day of rest or relaxation, as opposed to normal days away from work or school.
So now modern use now. Any day where you ain't got to go to school or you ain't got to go to work. That's a holiday. And it's a bunch of them. They got what? Veterans Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day. Got a Labor Day is a holiday, a work day, they call it. And you ain't got to work. But that's where holiday came from. Thanksgiving is a holiday too. Christmas, Halloween is a holiday. It's a Halloween. The most satanic event on the calendar is all of a sudden holy. Give me a break. Halloween's been evil since I was little. And it don't change now because they got the little kids dressed up like Spider-Man or angels or whatever it is. It's still evil. Well, let's move on. We got a lot to cover. Go to, where we at? Exodus 23. Let's see if the Lord commanded us to keep Thanksgiving. 23, what does it say?
3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter. It don't say that?
No.
What does it say?
Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread.
Unleavened bread, which we read.
Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded thee, in the time appointed of the month Abib. For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. And the feast of harvest. the first fruits of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field. And
Feast of Harvest. That's Pentecost. The Lord got 2 harvest festivals. Pentecost is the first one. Go ahead.
and the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year,
Feast of Ingathering. That's Tabernacles.
when thou hast gathered in thy labors out of the field. 3 times in the year all thy males shall appear before the Lord God.
Okay, that's good. So 3 times a year. Unleavened bread, Pentecost, and Tabernacles. Where's Thanksgiving, man? Is it in there? Okay. Go to Leviticus 7. Let's look at the first time Thanksgiving appears in the Bible. Somebody get them kids back there, man. Please, before I get them. Leviticus 7:1. What does it say?
Likewise, this is the law of the trespass offering. It is most holy. In the place where they kill the burnt offering shall they kill the trespass offering, and the blood thereof shall he sprinkle round about upon the altar.
So this is a trespass offering. It's holy to the Lord. Go ahead.
And he shall offer of it all the fat thereof, the rump, and the fat that covereth the inwards, and the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them, which is by the flanks, and the cowl that is above the liver, with the kidneys. It shall he take away.
You had to be a surgeon, boy, to be a priest, man, cutting this stuff up. And they did this every day. Go ahead.
And the priest shall burn them upon the altar for an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a trespass offering. Every male among the priests shall eat thereof. It shall be eaten in the holy place. It is most holy.
And the priest ate good. Because this wasn't no just run-of-the-mill animal. This was the best. No blemish, no nothing. Top of the line. USDA grade A, right? Go ahead, man.
As the sin offering is, so is the trespass offering. There is one law for them. The priest that maketh atonement therewith shall have it. And the priest that offereth any man's burnt offering, even the priest shall have to himself the skin of the burnt offering which he hath offered. And all the meat offering that is baken in the oven, and all that is dressed in the frying pan, and in the pan shall be the priest that offereth it.
So they baking good and they frying good too, boy. Them priests ate good. Go ahead.
And every meat offering mingled with oil and dry shall all the sons of Aaron have, one as much as another. And this is the law of the sacrifice of the peace offerings, which he shall offer unto the Lord. If he offer it for a thanksgiving, then he shall offer with the sacrifice of thanksgiving unleavened cakes mingled with oil, and unleavened wafers anointed with oil, and cakes mingled with oil of fine flour fried.
So he going to offer what? Thanksgiving. And the sacrifice of what? Thanksgiving. But we offering this to what? The God of Israel. And he telling you how to do it. You fry it up good. You bake it good. And you eat good. Go ahead.
Besides the cakes, he shall offer for his offering leavened bread with the sacrifice of thanksgiving of his peace offerings. And of it he shall offer one out of the whole oblation for an heave offering unto the Lord. And it shall be the priest that sprinkleth the blood of the peace offerings.
So while the priest is eating good, don't forget the Lord now. Offer up something for him too. Go ahead.
And the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offerings for thanksgiving shall be eaten the same day that it is offered. He shall not leave any of it until the morning.
So you got to eat this stuff the same day. So you best be starving all night so you be ready to eat that good food. If you can't leave no leftovers, you got to eat it all. And it's an offer of what? Thanksgiving to the Lord, the God of Israel. Go to 2 Chronicles. 2 Chronicles 5. It's not hard to keep these days, man. You just got to want to do them. But it showed enough a headache come this Thursday. Man, you be cooking all day. You got to start that night, too. The night before, you got to start. Then you got people coming over. People you don't want over there are coming over. It's a headache, man. 5 and 1, read it, man.
Thus all the work that Solomon made for the house of the Lord was finished. And Solomon brought in all the things that David his father had dedicated, and the silver, and the gold, and all the instruments, put he among the treasures of the house of God. Then Solomon assembled the elders of Israel, and all the heads of the tribes, the chief of the fathers of the children of Israel, unto Jerusalem, to bring up the ark of the covenant of the Lord out of the city of David, which is Zion.
So now the temple is done. They bringing the stuff in to furnish the temple. All the stuff that David had assembled. The gold, the instruments. Now it's time to put them in the house, the temple that Solomon built for the Lord. Go ahead.
Wherefore all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto the king in the feast, which was in the 7th month.
This ain't Thanksgiving, is it?
Sir.
This is Tabernacles. The harvest festival the Lord commanded us to keep, the feast in the 7th month. Go to Ezra chapter 3. Flip right on over. Ezra 3. We're going to come across this Thanksgiving, man. It's coming up. It's coming up. We got to find it. Ezra 3 and verse 1. What does it say?
And when the 7th month was come, and the children of Israel were in the cities, the people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem.
So the 7th month is here. Go ahead.
Then stood up Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and his brethren the priests, and Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and his brethren, and builded the altar of the God of Israel, to offer burnt offerings thereon, as it is written in the law of Moses, the man of God.
So they built the altar to offer offerings to the God of Israel. Go ahead.
And they set the altar upon his bases, for fear was upon them because of the people of those countries. And they offered burnt offerings thereon unto the Lord, even burnt offerings, morning and evening.
And what else did they do?
They kept also the Feast of Tabernacles, as it is written, and offering the daily burnt offerings by number according to the custom, as the duty of every day required.
So they kept the Feast of Tabernacles as it is written. It's written for us to keep this day. Go to John 7. It's not written that you should keep Thanksgiving, even though they give you 2 days off from work. I'd like to work them 2 days, but it costs too much for them to pay me. But it's all right. I take the days off. John 7, let's look at Jesus. Captain of our salvation, author and finisher of the faith, the example we're supposed to follow. Let's see what he's doing. John 7 and 1, what does it say?
After these things, Jesus walked in Galilee, for he would not walk in Jewry, because the Jews sought to kill him. Now the Jews' Feast of Tabernacles was at hand.
Now the Feast of Tabernacles was at hand, and they keeping it. Go ahead.
His brethren therefore said unto him, Depart hence, and go into Judea, that thy disciples also may see the works that thou doest. For there is no man that doeth anything in secret, and he himself seeketh to be known openly. If thou do these things, shew thyself to the world.
So his brothers told him, look, go on up there, man, to the feast. Do some miracles, man. Show yourself. Let the people know who you are. And they only said that because they didn't believe him. Go ahead.
For neither did his brethren believe in him.
So Jesus had an answer for him. Go ahead.
Then Jesus said unto them, My time is not yet come, but your time is always ready.
He said, my time is not yet. It ain't time for me to die. But you better watch yourself, because your time is any time. Go ahead.
The world cannot hate you, but me it hateth, because I testify of it, that the works thereof are evil.
Okay, let's go to Isaiah 66. We still trying to find this Thanksgiving, man. We went from Old Testament, tabernacles, New Testament, tabernacles. Let's see what happened when Jesus come back. Are we going to be doing Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving? Isaiah 66 and verse 22, one verse. But we got time. Start at 15 to let you know this is Jesus. 15. Read that.
For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and with rebuke, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many.
Now we read that in Isaiah, didn't we? Woe to them that call evil good and good evil. You're going to get burnt up. We read that in the 24th chapter. The world is defiled because they broke the laws. So the Lord going to burn them up. And here he is right here. He coming with fire to do what? Burn people up. 16, what it say?
For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many.
Now this is Jesus, right?
Yes, sir.
Who the first people on the top of the list? 17.
They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens, behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh,
The chitlin eaters.
and the abomination, and the mouse,
And the people that eat rats and mice too, what's going to happen?
shall be consumed together,
They
saith the Lord.
He's going to kill them too. Now skip down to 22. So he's back on the earth, killed who he going to kill. Now he's setting things in order, and let's see what people going to be doing. All the nations. 22, read it.
For as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass, that from one new moon to another,
From month to month,
and from one Sabbath to another,
and from Sabbath to Sabbath,
shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord.
all nations going to come to worship before the Lord. Not Christmas. Don't be coming up to Jesus in Jerusalem with a tree in your hand talking about happy birthday, Jesus. He going to tell that, get him out of here. From one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord. Let's go to Zechariah 14. Back up to Zechariah. Did y'all turn it up? Or the batteries went dead? I think the batteries. Y'all get it working. Zechariah 14. Zechariah 14 and start at verse 1. Let you know this Jesus again. Go ahead.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives.
And his feet, this is Jesus. They're going to stand on the Mount of Olives because that was the last place he left when he was on this earth. And the angels told him, why are you looking up at Jesus? The same way he left is the same way he coming back, with the clouds, and his feet going to be on the Mount of Olives. Go ahead.
Which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west. And there shall be a very great valley. And half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yea, ye shall flee like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah the king of Judah. And the Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with thee.
And he ain't coming by himself either. He coming with his holy angels in Matthew 25. And he's also coming with the saints that made the first resurrection. They're going to meet him in the air, and they're coming back down to do what Isaiah 66, verse 15 say, kill all the swine eaters. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which the Lord shall be known to the Lord, not day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And it shall be on that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them toward the hinder sea. In summer and in winter shall it be. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one.
So Jesus is going to be king over all the earth, King Jesus. And he's going to have one law for everybody. And let's see what the nation's going to be doing. Because he said they're going to be coming up from Sabbath to Sabbath and month to month. 16, what it say?
And it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
To keep the Feast of Thanksgiving?
To keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
No, Christmas.
To keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
What about Easter?
To worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
So we're going to be keeping the Feast of Tabernacles, the harvest festival the Lord set up in the beginning, that he commanded us to keep. We know all these nations came up with their own brand of harvest festival, which came up with another God to go with it. Because that's how it works. When you come up with your own stuff, you got to come up with a God to go with it, man. What else? Keep reading.
And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
So the Lord said, look, if you don't come up to keep this feast, you ain't getting no rain. And if you ain't getting no rain, guess what? Your crops won't grow. And if your crops don't grow, you ain't eating. And if you ain't eating, starvation sets in and you die. And I bet you have somebody up there next year to keep that feast. Be trying to keep Thanksgiving on the slide, right? We ain't going up to keep that tabernacle, but we're going to do Thanksgiving. All of a sudden, you ain't got no rain for a whole year. Is that it? 19. Read some more, man.
This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
So that's going to be the punishment of all nations that don't want to keep this feast. And now they talk about you now. Well, they didn't talk about you when you was at the Thanksgiving meal. But now that you don't do it no more, you trying to keep what you can read, now they talking about you like you crazy. But let's look at this. I don't think y'all had this one either. Harvest festivals around the world. Let's look at them. I think I printed it out. My notes is all messed up. I got it though. It all kicks off with Halloween. Halloween is a harvest festival. It's also the beginning of the new year for the witches. I think I got it. Here. Got a lot of stuff. Harvest Festival. Let's read that. Here, Harvest Festival. What it say?
Harvest Festival.
Y'all got it. Harvest Festival. I think it's the second. It's the first page on the handout. The second. Harvest Festival. What it say?
A harvest festival is an annual celebration that occurs around the time of the main harvest of a given region. Given the differences in climate and crops around the world, harvest festivals can be found at various times at different places. Harvest festivals typically feature feasting, both family and public, with foods that are drawn from crops that come to maturity around the time of the festival. Ample food and freedom from the necessity to work in the fields are two central features of harvest festivals. Eating, merriment, contests, music, and romance are common features of harvest festivals around the world.
Big time party. Everybody eating and drinking and getting frisky. Go ahead.
And
that's what romance is, huh? Go ahead.
in North America, Canada, and the U.S., Each have their own Thanksgiving celebrations in October and November.
So everybody got their own thing. Canada, U.S., Britain, they got their own harvest. What about what's written in the book? Read it.
In Britain, thanks have been given for successful harvest since pagan times.
Oh, wait a minute, what?
In Britain, thanks have been given for successful harvest since pagan times.
Since pagan times, they've been doing this. Go ahead.
Harvest festival is traditionally held on the Sunday near or of the harvest moon.
Why Sunday? Go ahead.
This is the full moon that occurs closest to the autumn equinox, the 22nd or 23rd of September. The celebrations on this day usually include singing, hymns, praying, and decorating churches with baskets of fruit and food in the festival known as the Harvest Festival, Harvest Home, Harvest Thanksgiving, or Harvest Festival of Thanksgiving. In British and English Caribbean churches, chapels, and schools, and some Canadian churches, people bring in produce from the garden, the allotment or farm. The food is often distributed among the poor and senior citizens of the local community.
Okay, that's good. So these harvest festivals, man, these are the best times that the poor get to eat real good, man. Because around this time, people do their one good deed for the whole year. You got celebrities out here serving turkey dinners. People that's been mean and evil all year, all of a sudden want to help the homeless for a couple days. Look at Halloween. Halloween kicks it off. We just got done with Halloween. Corona pretty much messed that up for everybody. But some of them are still out there. You got to wear a mask over the mask if you're going to trick or treat. They were still trying to keep that folly, man, I'm telling you. Halloween around the world. Y'all got that too. Next page, I think it is. Go ahead.
Halloween, one of the world's oldest holidays, is still celebrated today in a number of countries around the globe. In Mexico and other Latin American countries, Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, honors deceased loved ones and ancestors. In countries such as Ireland, Canada, and the United States, adults and children alike revel in the popular Halloween holiday.
Day of the Dead. They be out there at the cemetery with barbecues, plates of food for dead folks. But anyway, keep reading, man.
Which derive from ancient festivals and religious rituals.
Ancient festivals. In other words, paganism. Go ahead.
Traditions include costume parties, trick-or-treating, pranks, and games.
So dressing up in a costume is pagan. Did it say trick-or-treating too?
Yes, sir.
Pagan. What else?
Dia de los Muertos in Mexico, Latin America, and Spain, All Souls Day, which takes place on November 2nd, is commemorated with a 3-day celebration that begins on the evening of October 31st.
So this paganism was so strong, Catholic Church couldn't stomp it out. So we're going to come up with something else. All Souls Day or Saints Day. But they still let them do that paganism. Day of the Dead. You can't get no more pagan than that, man. Come on. Go ahead.
The celebration is designed to honor the dead who, it is believed, return to their earthly homes on Halloween. Many families construct an altar to the dead in their homes to honor deceased relatives and decorate it with candy, flowers, photographs, samples of the deceased's favorite foods and drinks, and fresh water. Often, a wash basin and towel are left out so that the spirit can wash before indulging in the feast.
Okay, give me a break on that. But they take this stuff seriously, you know? This is some serious paganism. And they deep into it. What about the candles and the incense? I got to watch these candlelight vigils people be having, man. I'm telling you. Ain't nothing holy about it. They trying to ward off evil spirits. Read it.
Candles and incense are burned to help the deceased find the way home. Relatives also tidy the grave sites of their departed family members. This can include snipping weeds, making repairs, and painting. The grave is then decorated with flowers, wreaths, or paper streamers. On November 2nd, relatives gather at the gravesite to picnic and reminisce. Some gatherings even include tequila and a mariachi band.
Wait a minute, what? Tequila? I better go to Mexico, huh?
Hey, man.
Go ahead, man. Finish reading. That was it? Now, this is Halloween now. This is a harvest festival. This is what they're doing at this particular harvest festival. Nothing but paganism. But let's see what America do. Read that, man. Y'all don't have this.
Halloween. Halloween was originally a festival of fire that honored the dead and the powers of darkness.
Can't get no more satanic than that. They let you know what it is. Go ahead.
It is celebrated on the evening of October 31st and continues past 12 midnight, the start of November 1st, which is the beginning of the Christian festival of All Hallows Day, now called All Saints Day, which commemorates dead saints and martyrs and was first introduced in the 7th century. All Saints Day's date was changed from May 13th to November 1st in the 8th century to make it coincide with and Christianize a pagan festival of the dead.
So that's what they did. Changed it up. So-called, when they say Christianize, watch that word. They didn't Christianize nothing. They stamped Jesus on it and let him do what they was going to do before they changed the name. Go ahead.
On All Hallows Eve, the pagans hollowed out turnips, rutabagas, gourds, potatoes, and beets. They placed a light in them to ward off evil spirits and keep an undead soul named Jack away.
Not Jack away, to keep Jack away. Same thing. But go ahead.
These were the original jack-o'-lanterns. In the 1800s, a couple of waves of immigrants came to America. These new immigrants quickly discovered that pumpkins were bigger and easier to carve out, so they used pumpkins for jack-o'-lanterns.
And people don't even know why they're doing it. They don't know why they're carving these pumpkins up. It's paganism. Because they ain't got no rutabagas or no turnips. The pumpkin is easier. They carving it out real evil. Look at it. Putting a light in it too. Blink on and off. We used to do that. But but keep reading. I'm sorry.
As Celtic pagans converted to the new religion of Christianity.
So the Celtic pagans converted to Christianity. That means they stopped doing it. Right? Nope. Keep reading.
They did not forget their stories of the dead traveling to the afterworld on Halloween, nor did sightings and activities of fairies cease being reported. As more Celtic priests became Christian leaders and pastors, fairies, hobgoblins, vampires, werewolves, and virtually any other myth became the fallen angels of Christianity.
So you see what they did? The pagan priests all of a sudden became Christian. And they changed the werewolves, the vampires, to what? Fallen angels. Catholic Church is slick, boy. Read some more, man.
The activities of Halloween, the making of charms, divining the future, the practice of magic, and dealing with unclean spirits and demons are explicitly forbidden.
Yeah, right. But they still doing it. What about the kids, man? Because remember, it's all for the kids. What about the kids, man?
Halloween today. The wearing of costumes, for instance, and the roaming from door to door demanding treats can be traced to the Celtic period and the first few centuries of Christianity, when it was thought that the souls of the dead were out and around, along with fairies, witches, and demons. Sacrifices and or valuables were offered to satisfy them. The masqueraders went from house to house singing and dancing. Their idolatrous masks and costumes were a visible representation of ghosts and goblins that lurked in the night. They would visit the neighboring villages for offerings which belonged to the dead, or play tricks akin to the legendary destructiveness of witches and imps abroad on this night.
So this is what they did centuries ago. Has anything changed today? Nope. Now it's under the guise of Jesus. It ain't Halloween no more, it's Holyween. Read some more, man.
I.e., in the past, when this celebrator of Halloween came to a house, offerings had to be given in honor of the day, generally of something valuable or death and or punishment to the person who gave no tribute. This practice evolved into the present day trick or treat, and the masks have been transferred to the children who in the United States, candy is given to them in the guise of saying trick or a treat.
Okay. Throw the kids in there, it's all right. Give them some candy, it's all right. Let's go to 1 Kings. We're going to find this Thanksgiving right now. 1 Kings 12. Okay. Solomon sinned against the Lord split the kingdom. Jeroboam got 10 tribes, Rehoboam got 2. Tabernacles is coming up. They keeping it down in the southern kingdom. Rehoboam them, they keeping it. But Jeroboam had to come up with something different. 1 Kings 12 and 19, what it say?
So Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day. And it came to pass, when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation, and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam the son of Solomon. But the word of God came unto Shemaiah, the man of God, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and to all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Ye shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. They hearkened therefore to the word of the Lord, and returned to depart according to the word of the Lord.
So Rehoboam was going to go up there and bring everybody back together by force. But the man of God told him, look, this is from me, leave it alone. So they listened to him, everybody went back home. Keep reading.
Then Jeroboam built Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out from thence, and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord, even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah. And they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah.
So if he said they go back to keep the feast, which the Lord commanded Israel to do, 3 times a year, you go to Jerusalem, keep the feast. So he was like, look, if they go back to keep the feast, they're going to side with Rehoboam, and they're going to kill me. I better come up with something else. Go ahead.
Whereupon the king took counsel, and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt.
So he came up with his own feast day. And when you come up with your own feast day, you got to come up with a God to go with it. But this time he came up with 2 guys, 2 calves. But go ahead.
And he set the one in Bethel, and the other put he in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi.
So you got a new God, you got to come up with some new priests to go with it. Not the priest that the Lord set up. He's like, anybody could be a priest. The lowest people, not the sons of Levi. Go ahead.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah, and he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he made, and he placed in Bethel the priests of the high places which he had made.
So he came up with his own tabernacles. Probably called it Thanksgiving. Because anytime you come up with something other than what the Lord ordained, you got to have another name for it. You can't call it Tabernacles. You can call it Harvest Festival, but you can't call it Tabernacles. And I didn't even bring my list, man, of these Harvest Festival, these names these countries got for them. I left it on the table. Maybe I'll bring it next year. But if you come up with a new, something that's counteractive to the Lord, you got to have a new name for it. Thanksgiving Day is what? It's a harvest festival, right? We got a harvest festival. It's called Tabernacles. So if you come up with Thanksgiving Day, you got to come up with a God to go with it. Let's read it. Thanksgiving. Read 33 too, man.
So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel. And he offered upon the altar and burnt incense.
So now, the 7th month, if you place it in the solar calendar, usually falls around September or October. This 8th month feast that he came up with, put it in the solar calendar, guess where it falls? November. Think about it. Now let's look at Thanksgiving. Definition. Y'all got it. I think you do. What's the definition of Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, an act of giving thanks, an expression of gratitude, especially to God.
An act of giving thanks, an expression of gratitude, especially to God. We read that in Leviticus. They was offering up sacrifice to God. But let's look at this Thanksgiving Day. Flip over to the next page. That's in the handout too, I think. What is Thanksgiving Day? What is it?
Thanksgiving Day, a day appointed for giving thanks for divine goodness.
Who appointed this Thanksgiving Day? Set aside for what? Divine goodness. Divine means godly, don't it? But what God is it that's so divinely towards you? When is this Thanksgiving? Go ahead.
The 4th Thursday in November.
The 15th day of the 7th month.
The 4th Thursday in November, observed as a legal holiday in the United States.
Observed as a legal holiday in the United States. What else? What about in Canada?
The 2nd Monday in October, observed as a legal holiday in Canada.
So Canada got their own twist on it, right? America got Thursday. Thanksgiving got what? Monday? Canada got Monday. And all these other nations, they got a bunch too. I didn't bring it though, I'm sorry. So let's go to, let's read some more on Thanksgiving. Here, read that. It's in the handout too. Flip it right over. Thanksgiving. Got it from the History Channel. They got their own channel. They got their own website. And I'm the only one that watches. Read it, man.
Thanksgiving. In 1621, the Plymouth colonists and Wampanoag Indians shared an autumn harvest feast that is acknowledged today as one of the first Thanksgiving celebrations in the colonies. For more than 2 centuries, days of Thanksgiving were celebrated by individual colonies and states. It wasn't until 1863, in the midst of the Civil War, that President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a national Thanksgiving Day to be held each November. Thanksgiving at Plymouth. In September 1620, a small ship called the Mayflower left Plymouth, England, carrying 102 passengers. An assortment of religious separatists seeking a new home where they could freely practice their faith, and other individuals lured by the promise of prosperity and land ownership in the New World.
So here's the sugar-coated version. This is the version we all grew up with. You got the Pilgrims, got the Indians, big old turkey on the table, whatever. Well, they pretty much found out that that's garbage. It didn't even go down like that. But you too steeped in it that you just continue to go along with it. Go ahead.
After a treacherous and uncomfortable crossing that lasted 66 days, they dropped anchor near the tip of Cape Cod, far north of their intended destination at the mouth of the Hudson River. 1 month later, the Mayflower crossed Massachusetts Bay, where the Pilgrim, as they are now commonly known, began the work of establishing a village at Plymouth.
Okay, that's good. Flip over to the next page. Let's get down to the real deal. Thanksgiving traditions. The whole thing.
Thanksgiving traditions.
These are traditions that we all used to do. Some of y'all gonna still do them. Go ahead.
In many American households, the Thanksgiving celebration has lost much of its original religious significance. Instead, it now centers on cooking and sharing a bountiful meal with family and friends. Turkey, a Thanksgiving staple so ubiquitous, it has become all but synonymous with the holiday.
That's right. How come you can't find no turkeys nowhere until around this time? Where they been hiding at? Go ahead.
May or may not have been an offer when the Pilgrims hosted the inaugural feast in 1621. Today, however, nearly 90% of Americans eat the bird, whether roasted, baked, or deep fried, on Thanksgiving. According to the National Turkey Federation, other traditional foods include stuffing, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, and pumpkin pie. Volunteering is a common Thanksgiving Day activity, and communities often hold food drives and host free dinners for the less fortunate.
That's all good, ain't it? Eating good. I ain't saying you can't eat on this day. You got to eat. But if you go to Big Mama's house, we got a problem. Because Big Mama gonna have the whole spread out. But let's see this Thanksgiving. Ancient origins.
Thanksgiving's ancient origins. Although the American concept of Thanksgiving developed in the colonies of New England, its roots can be traced back to the other side of the Atlantic.
Remember when they say ancient? It's paganism. It can be traced to the other side of the Atlantic. Where? Go ahead.
Both the separatists who came over on the Mayflower and the Puritans who arrived soon after brought with them a tradition of providential holidays, days of fasting during difficult or pivotal moments, and days of feasting and celebration to thank God in times of plenty. As an annual celebration of the harvest and its bounty, moreover, Thanksgiving falls under a category of festivals that spans cultures, continents, and millennia. In ancient times, the Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans feasted and paid tribute to their gods after the fall harvest.
So the Egyptians, Greeks, and don't forget them Romans, feasted and paid tribute to their gods after the fall harvest. Harvest festival, harvest God, feasting, and everything else. The Lord gave us one to keep. What's wrong with keeping that one? Matter of fact, that one lasts 7 days. You can eat good. Let's go back to the book. Matthew 5. So we found the Thanksgiving, man. They came up with it as an alternative to keeping the Feast of Tabernacles. That's all it is. Another harvest festival to get you off track from what thus saith the Lord. 5 and 17. We're going to get through this, right?
Yes,
that's right. Some good stuff. Keep reading. 17, what does it say?
Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
That's Jesus. I didn't come to destroy the law. I came to fulfill. Go ahead.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled.
So heaven and earth will pass. Till one jot or one tittle all be fulfilled. He gonna barely destroy it when he come back. That's why we still gonna be keeping the feast. What else?
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
So if you teach somebody to break one of the least commandments, you're gonna be least in the kingdom, and we know that's the lake of fire. Go ahead.
But whosoever shall do and teach them the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
But if you teach people to do these, you're going to be called great in the kingdom. Go to Ezekiel 33. Now we read the Bible, we do a little history on things, because if you can't find it in the Bible, it's got to be somewhere outside. Can't find Christmas in the Bible. So we got to go outside to find where it came from. Can't find Easter in the Bible. So we go outside other sources to find out where did they come up with this Easter if they're going to associate with Jesus, but I can't see it in the Bible. Well, we find out once you do your research, paganism. It's that simple. Anything outside of the Bible that they try to attribute to it got one common denominator: paganism. And Thanksgiving, we throwing that right in there too. Now you do what you want. The choice is yours. Ezekiel 33:30, what it say?
Also thou, son of man, the children of thy people still are talking against thee by the walls and in the doors of the houses, and speak one to another, every one to his brother, saying, Come, I pray you, and hear what is the word that cometh forth from the Lord. And they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them. For with their mouth they shew much love, but with their heart goeth after their covetousness.
And that's what happened, you stop doing Christmas, they give you that. You don't do Easter no more, but you're still trying to hold on to Thanksgiving, because that's the only way you can go over there and try to reach your people. They ain't trying to hear nothing. Guaranteed. You go there, they say, look, sit down, hear these words. But they ain't trying to hear them. They show much love, but their heart go where? After that covetousness. Go on over there and try to talk to them. They ain't trying to hear it. Read some more, man.
And lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that hath a pleasant voice, and can play well on an instrument. For they hear thy words, but they do them not.
They hear the words, but they ain't trying to do nothing. They looking forward to Christmas. 2 Timothy 4. Try it and see. Those of y'all that's still doing it, go on over there and try to kick the book with them. Don't even bring the book with you, because I guarantee you they're going to throw you out. Because they ain't here to hear no word of God. They're here to eat and drink and watch football. Don't break that book out when that football game is on. 2 Timothy 4:1, what does it say?
I charge thee therefore before God and the Lord Jesus Christ, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. Preach the word.
Preach the word.
Be instant in season, out of season.
In season and out of season. It's the season of the heathen right now. That's why we preaching the word. Go ahead.
Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine.
And that's right now. Don't nobody want to hear no sound doctrine. Go ahead.
But after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers, having itching ears.
They want their ears scratched. Tell me some lies. I believe that more than the truth. Verse 4, what they going to do?
And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables.
Turn their ear from the truth and believe a lie. Wholesale. 5.
But watch thou in all things, endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, make full proof of thy ministry.
Make full proof of your ministry. Stand strong in the Lord. 1 Corinthians 10. Just in case you decide to go over there this Thursday. Let's see what the Lord say. You just kept tabernacles, didn't you? 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 20. 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 20. Read it.
But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils, and not to God. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils.
Thanksgiving Day, who they thanking? They ain't thanking the God of Israel. It's that other Jesus. It's Satan in disguise. That's who they thinking. So in other words, the devil. Go ahead.
Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of the devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils.
So you can't come here, keep tabernacles, and then go have you some turkey on Thanksgiving Day with them devils. I mean, that's what the book say, don't it? Because you know they ain't thanking the God of Israel on Thanksgiving Day. They not. Guaranteed. Everybody's a sun worshiper, except for you if you're over there. But you might as well be there because the walls closed down. They're going to get you too. 1 Corinthians 8. I want 22:2.
Do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than he?
I don't think so. So it's best not to walk that thin line with the Lord. It's all right. They'll forgive you. They forgave you for giving up Christmas and Easter. They'll get over it. You used to come around and talk the book. They wasn't trying to hear the book. They just wanted to get you back over there. All right, flip back to chapter 8. And we ain't trying to be a stumbling block to the people. 8:1, what it say?
Now as touching things offered unto idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up.
So we talk about things offered to idols, because with the holiday comes a feast, comes the God. And the food that's being prepared on that day is for that particular God, so it's pretty much a sacrifice. Ain't nothing wrong with a turkey, but there's something wrong with the turkey on Thanksgiving Day. Especially when you're around a bunch of other people that's observing that day. There's a problem. Read it.
Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth. And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing, yet as he ought to know. But if any man love God, the same is known of him. As concerning therefore the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other God but one.
So things sacrificed to idols, we know an idol is nothing. It's something that man made with his hands, called it a God. It's nothing. We know that. Go ahead.
For though there be that are called gods, whether in heaven or in earth, as there be gods many and lords many, but to us there is but one God, the Father, of whom are all things, and we in him.
So we know it's only one God, one true living God, and that's the Father and Lord Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
And one Lord Jesus Christ, by whom are all things, and we by him. Howbeit, there is not in every man that knowledge.
So everybody don't have that knowledge. That's why they like a leaf in the wind, going here and going there. Instead of being grounded in what thus saith the Lord. Everybody don't have that knowledge. We're fortunate enough to have it. That's why we study this Bible and try to plant them seeds to get other people to come to the understanding so they can come up out of that folly too. But go ahead.
Howbeit, there is not in every man that knowledge. For some with the conscience of the idol unto this hour eat it as a thing offered unto an idol, and their conscience being weak is defiled.
So some people to this hour eat something that's sacrificed to an idol. Now we know what idols are. You know, they portray it. Historically, we know people worship things. But now idolatry is so different now that you don't even know that you worshiping another God. And it's under the disguise of Christmas and Easter. People don't know that they worshiping another God when they participate in all these celebrations. And Thanksgiving is one of them too. Go ahead.
But meat commendeth us not to God. For neither if we eat are we the better, neither if we eat not are we the worse. But take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours become a stumbling block to them that are weak.
So even though we got this knowledge, just like, man, if they throwing a Christmas party, I know it's garbage. I tell them it's garbage. But if I stroll up in there to eat some of that good food, which is good, they're going to be like, what you doing here, man? You've been telling us Christmas is garbage. Why are you here eating? That's a stumbling block. It's best to stay away. Set the example. It's like trying to tell somebody not to work on the Sabbath, and you there working, telling them they ain't supposed to be working. Keep reading, man.
For if any man see thee which has knowledge sit at meat in the idol's temple, shall not the conscience of him which is weak be emboldened to eat those things which are offered to idols?
So if I see you eating it, it must be okay. So I'm going to go there eating too. And be there at the next Christmas party. Eating. Go ahead.
And through thy knowledge shall the weak brother perish, for whom Christ died.
So now you done messed this guy up. Go ahead.
But when ye sin so against the brethren, and wound their weak conscience, ye sin against Christ. Wherefore, if meat make my brother to offend, I will eat no flesh while the world standeth, lest I make my brother to offend.
So we trying to win souls. You can't tell people that it's garbage and you there eating. Colored eggs is garbage and you eating one. Oh, it's just an egg. You just happen to color it. It ain't bothering me. It's just an egg. No. It's an Easter egg because it's colored. Titus, 1 Peter 3 and 14. So we try to abstain from the appearance of evil. Just stay away. So we had some people, it was like, well, I ain't going to mention it, but go to 1 Peter chapter 3. I'm going to let that one go. Because sometimes you just can't, just stay away, man. Don't even go around you folks. Stay home and eat. Watch some football by yourself. Drink, do something. You don't need to be going around no family on Thanksgiving. What it say?
But if ye suffer for righteousness' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled, but sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear.
So you got to be able to give an answer. How come you don't do this no more? Go ahead.
Having a good conscience, that whereas they speak evil of you, as of evildoers, they may be ashamed that falsely accuse your good conversation in Christ.
So when you answer them, you tell them, I'm just doing what the book say. If you want to read it, we can read it. Be soft with your answer. Because they done already talked about you like a dog. And just waiting for the opportunity to confront you for why you bringing all this drama in the family. When all you doing is reading the book and doing it. Y'all got the problem, not me. So they confront you, and you give them a soft answer. I'm doing this because this is what the book say. I can't go wrong by reading the Bible and doing it. They'd be like, what? Really? After they done talked about you. 2 Thessalonians, Titus, read 17 too, man.
For it is better, if the will of God be so, that ye suffer for well-doing than for evil-doing.
That's right. It's better to suffer something for doing good, especially when you're doing it for the Lord. I take that suffering all day and all night. Titus 1 and verse 10. But you got to be careful because there's some people out there that's going to trip you up. They will try to get you, especially Israel. 1 and 10, read it.
For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision.
That's right. Israel is rough. They real slick. Smooth conversation. They'll get you. Skip down to 13 and read it.
This witness is true. Wherefore rebuke them sharply, that they may be sound in the faith.
Rebuke them. Them slick talkers. Go ahead.
Not giving heed to Jewish fables and commandments of men, that turn from the truth. Unto the pure all things are pure, but unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure, but even their mind and conscience is defiled.
So don't give no heed to Jewish fables or commandments of men that turn people from the truth. Because unto the pure, all things are pure. But the ones that's messed up in the head, defiled and unbelieving, nothing is pure. Even their conscience is jacked up. What else?
They profess that they know God, but in works they deny him.
Don't they profess they know God? Can't tell by their action. Go ahead.
Being abominable and disobedient, and unto every good work reprobate.
Reprobate. Go to Colossians. 2 Thessalonians. How did I get to Colossians? 2 Thessalonians 3. So we got to draw the line in the sand. Either we going to give it all up and stick with the Lord, or try to somewhat please the family. But don't let the somewhat get you somewhat cut off. Because we got to gird up, because these days they kicking in, man. And it vexes me every year around this time. I might get a break because of Corona. It won't be as pretty much out there like it used to be. But you know, they're going to try. They're going to try to amp these folly days up, Corona or no Corona. It's going to be in your face more time than any other time because of this thing that's going on now. Because they hindered. They don't want you to gather, do nothing. And the folks is mad because they're messing up their folly days. They canceled what? Was it Black Friday? Did they cancel that? They didn't? They gonna have it. They just stretched it out. 4 weeks of Black Friday. No Thanksgiving parade. It might be virtual. Who knows? But that's what they want. They want something. 2 Thessalonians 3:14. Read it.
And if any man obey not our word by this epistle, note that man, and have no company with him, that he may be ashamed. Yet count him not as an enemy, but admonish him as a brother.
So if don't nobody obey the word, by what Paul is telling the people, he said, look, don't keep company with him, that he might be ashamed, but don't count him as an enemy. Admonish him as a brother, because you never know, the brother might turn. You can turn him. The Lord will work on him, and he might turn. 2 Kings 17. And we're almost done. 2 Kings 17. So let's look what happened when the Assyrians took Israel out the land and brought in some more people. 17:24, read it.
And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sephrim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof.
So that's what the Assyrians would do. They would conquer your land, take you out, and move somebody else in there. Go ahead.
And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there that they feared not the Lord. Therefore the Lord sent lions among them, which slew some of them.
So when they was there in the beginning, they didn't fear God. So the Lord sent some lions in there to kill them. And they got the message then. Go ahead.
Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the God of the land. Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the God of the land.
So they talked to the king and said, look, the lions is killing us. We don't know how to serve this God. Go ahead.
Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests, whom ye brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the God of the land. Then one of the priests, whom they had carried away from Samaria, came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear the Lord.
So one of the Levites came in there and taught them, this is how you fear this God. Go ahead.
Howbeit, every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places which the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. And the men of Babylon made Succoth-Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashima, and the Avites made Nebhaz and Tartak, and the Sephirites burnt their children in the fire to Adrimelech and to Anamelech, the gods of Sepharim.
So they taught them how to fear the Lord, but what did they do? Skip that. We're going to do our own gods. And every one of these nations, and every city that they dwelt in, they all had their own God. Go ahead.
So they feared the Lord, and made unto themselves of the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. They feared the Lord, and served their own gods, after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence.
So they didn't have too much. They said they feared the Lord, but they still served their own gods. So much for fear. They didn't get the message with the lions. Go ahead.
Unto this day they do after the former manners. They fear not the Lord, neither do they after their statutes, or after the ordinances, or after the law and commandment which the Lord commanded the children of Jacob, whom he named Israel, with whom the Lord had made a covenant, and charged them, saying, Ye shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them. But the Lord, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with great power and a stretched out arm, him shall ye fear, and him shall ye worship.
So what's wrong with worshiping the God of Israel, man, doing what he say? Why we got to still try to take part of what other people are doing that don't care about the God of Israel, man? I guarantee you, you go to one of them Thanksgiving things, man, they ain't coming to no tabernacles. Ask them, those that go. Ask your people to come to tabernacles one time. See what they say. We'll see. I'll get back with you. They ain't trying to hear it. Go ahead.
And to him shall ye do sacrifice, and the statutes, and the ordinances, and the law, and the commandment, which he wrote for you, ye shall observe to do forevermore, and ye shall not fear other gods. And the covenant that I have made with you, ye shall not forget, neither shall ye fear other gods. But the Lord your God ye shall fear, and he shall deliver you out of the hand of all your enemies.
So fear the Lord, he'll deliver you. Or what did the people say? Go ahead.
Howbeit, they did not hearken.
They ain't trying to hear it. We're going to do what we want to do. Go ahead.
But they did after their former manner. So these nations feared the Lord and served their graven images, both their children and their children's children, as did their fathers. So did they unto this day.
And that's how it is. It's a cycle. You serving the pagan God, you teach your children to do the pagan God. They grow up, teach their children, and so on and so on and so on until somebody finally comes around with some understanding and breaks that cycle. They break it. Because they get to a point where, ain't no such thing as Santa Claus. But what do? They take you to the mall to sit on the dude's lap. And then you get old enough, wait a minute, Mama, you done lied to me. Well, that's all right, baby. It's all right. Santa Claus is a good thing, ain't it? But you lied. And now you growing up, having kids, teaching them that lie too. So it's a blessing that Israel is waking up, and we got kids that are being raised Israel. Don't know nothing about no Christmas. None of that Easter. Easter egg, ask my daughter what Easter egg is. What did you say? Santa who? Colossians 2. The cycle has to be broken. 2 and 8. Colossians 2 and 8. Read it.
Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ.
So beware. Beware of something serious. When you got a sign on your gate say, beware of dog, don't cross that line or you're going to get bit. Paul is telling them, Colossians, beware of philosophy and vain deceit. I'm telling you, philosophy will get you to the lake of fire. And you're going to look around and he's going to be right there with you. Mr. Plato, Socrates, Aristotle, all them big time philosophers, right? Tradition of men, rudiments of the world, and not after Christ, verse 20.
Wherefore, if ye be dead with Christ from the rudiments of the world, why, as though living in the world, are ye subject to the ordinances? Touch not, taste not, handle not, which all are to perish with the using, after the commandments and doctrines of men.
So if you living in Christ and you dead to the rudiments of the world, why you trying to go back and try to hang around on their particular days and try to reach them? They ain't trying to hear. You better off trying to get them on a Wednesday or a Tuesday than on one of their harvest festival days. Try to go there on Christmas and try to talk book to them. They ain't trying to hear it. We finished that? Let's move on, bro. Mark 7. Yeah, I know it'd be some good food there, man. But hey, make your own chicken and eat it. Fry it up. Seven and 1, read it.
Then came together unto him the Pharisees and certain of the scribes which came from Jerusalem. And when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with defiled, that is to say, with unwashing hands, they found fault. For the Pharisees and all the Jews, except they wash their hands off, eat not, holding the tradition of the elders.
So they had a tradition. You had to wash your hands real good before you ate. And they went through so much ritualistic stuff. Your food was probably cold by the time you got done washing. But they thought if you didn't wash your hands this particular way, then your food is defiled. And if your food is defiled and you eat it, you all messed up too. Go ahead.
And when they come from the market, except they wash, they eat not. And many other things there be, which they have received to hold, as the washing of cups and pots, brazen vessels, and of tables. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, Why walk not thy disciples according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashing hands?
So they came to Jesus and asked him, how come your disciples don't wash their hands when they eat? Like the elders, they tradition of washing hands. You couldn't just go under the basin and put some water on, you know. You had to go through something. You probably had to do all that or whatever they was doing. But keep reading.
He answered and said unto them, Well hath Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, This people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. Howbeit, in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men.
So just because you don't wash your hands before you eat, ain't nothing wrong with you. You're nasty, but that's about it. The food ain't messed up. You ain't messed up either. But go ahead.
For laying aside the commandment of God, ye hold the tradition of men, as the washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things ye do. And he said unto them, Full well ye reject the commandment of God, that ye may keep your own tradition.
And that's right. They reject tabernacles to do what? Keep Thanksgiving. It's that simple. It's real easy to keep tabernacles. Read it and do it. Thanksgiving is rough, man. It's hard. Too much drama. Now let's look at this. I got one more reference concerning Thanksgiving. This is out the encyclopedia. Y'all don't have this one. It's that encyclopedia over there. Read it. What's in yellow?
Origins. Thanksgiving is a national holiday in the United States. National holidays can be defined as those commemorations that a nation's government has deemed important enough to warrant inclusion in the list of official public holidays. They tend to honor a person or event that has been critical in the development of the nation and its identity. Such people and events usually reflect values and traditions shared by a large portion of the citizenry. In the United States, patriotism and identity were nurtured from the beginning of the nation by the very act of celebrating new events and holidays, like the 4th of July, battle anniversaries, and other notable occasions. This was even more important in the country's early years because the nation was composed of people from a variety of backgrounds and traditions. The invention of traditions and the marking of important occasions in the life of the new nation were crucial in creating a shared bond of tradition and sense of common belonging to a relatively new homeland through the shared experience of celebrating common holidays. As more and diverse people migrated to United States, it became even more important to celebrate significant annual anniversaries, and Thanksgiving soon became one of the nation's most important shared celebrations. The autumn harvest has always been a cause for celebration. The ancient Greeks honored Demeter, their corn goddess, at the annual festival known as Thesomorphia.
A corn goddess. A goddess of corn. Go ahead, man.
In October, when the seeds for the next year's crop were about to be planted, the Romans had their ZECHARIAH held each year on October 4th in honor of the grain goddess Ceres.
Grain goddess. Go ahead.
They offer her the first fruits of the harvest and paraded through the field, participating in games and sports and sharing huge Thanksgiving feasts. The Jews observe Sukkot, or Feast of Tabernacles, in autumn as well. They hung the walls of the small huts built for this festival with apples, grapes, corn, pomegranates, and other fruits and vegetables.
It's the so-called Jew now. Don't get confused. It's the so-called Jew. He don't believe in Jesus either.
Right.
Go ahead.
Both the North American and South American Indians celebrated the harvest as well. All of these early Thanksgiving ceremonies were social as well as religious occasions, providing those whose work in the fields was completed with an opportunity to sing, dance, feast, and play games.
That's it? Okay, read this. What's in yellow? Let me have it. My bad, I'm sorry.
Most Americans, however, think of the first official Thanksgiving as being one that took place at Plymouth Colony in October 1621.
That's what they gave us, right? That's what we always grown up on, thinking. Even when they expose the truth, we still roll with it. Go ahead.
In October 1621, a year after the Pilgrims first landed on New England coast, they were joined in a 3-day feast by Massasoit, the chief of the Wampanoag tribe, and about 90 of his fellow tribesmen. Only 50 of the original 100 pilgrims had survived the first winter, and those who did owed their survival to the Indians. The feast they shared with them in 1621 was primarily a harvest celebration rather than a religious one. The Pilgrims' Thanksgiving can be traced back to the English Harvest Festival, the English Harvest Home Festival, and Dutch Thanksgiving traditions, which some pilgrims learned about during the 10 years they spent in the city of Leyden before coming to America. Today, Thanksgiving is a time for family reunions, most of which center around the preparation of an elaborate meal featuring turkey and a dozen or so accompanying dishes. Although some people go to special church services on Thanksgiving Day, far more line the streets to watch the parades or sit in front of the television watching football games. In many American cities and towns, the day after Thanksgiving marks the official start of the Christmas shopping season.
That's right. I'm trying to figure out why these parades. Why you got to have a parade? We're going to find that out too. Corn dolly. I don't know what that is. A corn dolly, but it's got something to do with Thanksgiving. What is a corn dolly?
Corn dolly. Many rituals were associated with the cutting of the last sheaf of corn at the harvest. At one time, people believed that the corn spirit or corn goddess ran from plant to plant just ahead of the advancing sickles. Sometimes farmers caught the corn spirit by making the last sheaf into a doll who was believed to possess magical powers. The corn doll was then
Yeah. Corn doll. Go ahead.
The corn doll was then decorated with the ribbons or crowned with a wreath of flowers and hung up on the farmhouse wall until it was time to plow for the next year's crops. Then the farmers' wives would cut the doll into pieces and bring it into the fields as foods for the horses, or she would burn it, and the farmer would plow the ashes back into the earth as a way of ensuring a plentiful harvest. In some places, the corn doll would be thrown into a river in the hope that it would guarantee sufficient rainfall.
Okay. Now what they do nowadays, what it is now. Read that, man. Last paragraph right there. What it say?
In America today, small dolls made from the corn husks are a popular household decoration on Thanksgiving.
Okay, so they still doing it. Maybe it's a Gentile thing, because we ain't never did it. Do they still do it? Y'all? I don't know. It's got to be some Gentile stuff, huh? What about the cornucopia?
Cornucopia, also known as the Horn of Plenty.
Horn of Plenty. We all see that around this time, don't you? Got that horn with all the food coming out of it. What is it?
The cornucopia is not only a harvest symbol, but a symbol of early America. With its seemingly endless supply of game and produce, in ancient Rome, a goat's horn overflowing with fruit and other foods was an attribute of both Flora, the goddess of flowers, and Fortuna, the goddess of the goddess.
That's paganism. Corn of Plenty, goddess. Go ahead.
The goddess of fortune. In Greece, it was associated with Amalthea, a nymph in the form of a goat who nursed the infant Zeus in a cave on the island of Crete. According to legend, Amalthea broke off one of the horns and filling it with fruits and flowers, gave it to Zeus. To show his gratitude, Zeus set the goat's image in the sky as the constellation Capricorn. In another version of the myth, the great young Zeus breaks off a goat's horn and gives it to Amalthea, his foster mother, telling her it will supply her for whatever she needs.
All right, let's get to America now. Finish that last paragraph, because it's around. It's paganism, but they got to smooth it over. What is it now?
Cornucopia, from the Latin cornucapi, meaning horn of plenty, is a long-standing symbol of fruitfulness and abundance. Americans often place cornucopia baskets on their Thanksgiving tables to symbolize their gratitude for the feast they are about to share.
So they don't even know why they're doing it. They think they know, but what does that horn of plenty represent? Straight up paganism. Now what about the parade? And this is the last one. Parades.
Parades. In ancient Greece and Rome, harvest celebrations often included farm wagons decorated with sheaves of grain. Today, many Americans celebrate Thanksgiving with parades featuring floats reminiscent of those early harvest wagons. In fact, some scholars see the harvest queens who ride in modern-day Thanksgiving parades as the descendants of the pagan corn goddesses. The oldest Thanksgiving Day parade, which dates back to 1920, is the one held by Gimbel's department store in Philadelphia. Macy's department store in New York held its first parade in 1924. Today, the Macy's parade features characters from storybooks, movies, television, and Toyland. In recent years, it has attracted more than 3 million spectators, while another 60 million Americans have watched it on television. In Hollywood, television and movie stars parade through the streets on floats.
Okay, so the parade is what? Paganism. When you come up with your own holy day contrary to God, you come up with another God, you come up with a feast, and everything else that goes along with it. It's all paganism. It's just like Christmas. The tree is pagan, mistletoe is pagan, giving gifts is pagan, the star, all that stuff is pagan. Same thing with Thanksgiving. Now let's go to Joshua 24. But before we do that, we got to read this because I like this book. This is written by Hallmark, the same people that sell you all those cards. They know all about the paganism too. Let's read what they say about Thanksgiving. And that's the last reference, and then we're going to get back to the book and finish the lesson. What does it say about Thanksgiving Day?
Thanksgiving Day. The Pilgrims, who in 1621 observed our initial Thanksgiving holiday, were not a people especially enthusiastic about the celebration of festivals. In fact, these austere and religious settlers of America would have been dismayed had they known of the long and popular history of harvest festivals.
So they had some sense, you know. They didn't like all that stuff because they knew something was wrong with it. Go ahead.
Of which their Thanksgiving was only the latest. It seems that wherever man has tilled the soil and urged his crops into fruition, he has paid homage to the heavenly being who has permitted him such good fortune, and he has taken care by means of sacrifices to ensure the continued beneficence of the supreme power. The harvest festival, with its attendant rites, seems to have spread out from a relatively small area of land from Egypt and Syria and Mesopotamia. The first or the last sheaf of wheat was offered to the Great Mother, or the Mother of Wheat, for the earth power was essentially a feminine force. Astarte was the earth mother of the ancient Semites. To the Phrygians, she was Semele. Under the name of Demeter, she was worshipped by the Greeks at the famous Eleusinian mysteries. Ceres, the Roman goddess of corn, presided over the October Cerealia. The Jews celebrate two harvest festivals: Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks in the spring, and Sukkot, the Feast of Booths, which is in the fall. In medieval times, Germany, France, Holland, England, and the countries of Central Europe observed the Feast of Saint Martin of Tours, Martinmas, on November 11th, as the time of the harvest rejoicings.
So everybody got a harvest festival. But let's get to some real serious stuff what the Indians did. Read that, man.
In our own hemisphere, among the Aztecs of Mexico, the harvest took on a grimmer aspect. Each year, a young girl, a representation of Zillinan, the goddess of the new corn, was beheaded. The Pawnees also sacrificed a girl. In a more temperate mood, the Cherokees of the American Southeast danced the green corn dance and began the new year at Harvest End.
Okay, that's good. So some of these harvest festivals, man, they was killing people, cutting girls' heads off. And the American Thanksgiving derived from that. They just toned it all down, but it's still paganism, all the way down to the parade. Joshua 24 and 15, what it say? 14, I'm sorry.
Now therefore, fear the Lord, and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood, and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord.
So serve the Lord, sincerity and truth. Go ahead.
And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve.
So if it's evil to you to serve the Lord, make the choice. It's that simple. Serve God or you don't want to serve him. Go ahead.
whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
That's right. We're going to serve the Lord. Skip Thanksgiving. Skip it. Psalm 95. Pick it up at verse 1. Psalm 95 and verse 1. Some good reading, man. Pulling a double shift. Some good reading. 95 and 1. Read it.
O come, let us sing unto the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before his presence with thanksgiving, and make a joyful noise unto him with psalms.
That's right. Go ahead.
For the Lord is a great God, and a great King above all gods. In his hand are the deep places of the earth. The strength of the hills is his also. The sea is his, and he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. O come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker.
Now, what's wrong with giving thanksgiving to this guy? The one that made everything. The one that set up days that we should honor him. What's wrong with that? First Chronicles 16. This is the last place. People try to make stuff so hard. You can't follow that Bible. What's wrong? Why can't I? You tell me why I can't follow this. First Chronicles 16 and verse 1. 1 and 2 and then skip down to 7. Read it.
So they brought the ark of God and set it in the midst of the tent that David had pitched for it. And they offered burnt sacrifices and peace offerings before God. And when David had made an end of offering the burnt offerings and the peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of the Lord.
So now they got the ark back. And they doing what? Sacrificing to the Lord, the God of Israel. Verse 7.
Then on that day, David delivered first this psalm to thank the Lord into the hand of Asaph and his brethren. Give thanks unto the Lord. Call upon his name. Make known his deeds among the people. Sing unto him. Sing psalms unto him. Talk ye of all his wondrous works. Glory ye in his holy name. Let the heart of them rejoice that seek the Lord. Seek the Lord and his strength. Seek his face continually. Remember the marvelous works that he hath done, his wonders and the judgments of his mouth. O ye seed of Israel, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen ones. He is the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth.
So he's the Lord our God. His judgments are in all the earth. Give thanks to him. 23, what it say?
Sing unto the Lord, all the earth. Shew forth from the day to day his salvation. Declare his glory among the heathen, his marvelous works among all nations. For great is the Lord, and greatly to be praised. He also is to be feared above all gods. For all the gods of the people are idols, but the Lord made the heavens.
And we read some of them idols, right? Demeter, Cyrene, whoever them clowns are. They made them up. But the God of Israel is the God above all gods. Go ahead.
Glory and honor are in his presence. Strength and gladness are in his place. Give unto the Lord, ye kindreds of the people. Give unto the Lord glory and strength. Give unto the Lord the glory due unto his name. Bring an offering and come before him. Worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. Fear before him all the earth. The world also shall be stable, that it be not moved. Let the heavens be glad, and let the earth rejoice. And let men say among the nations, the Lord reigneth. Let the sea roar, and the fullness thereof. Let the fields rejoice, and all that is therein. Then shall the trees of the wood sing out of the presence of the Lord, because he cometh to judge the earth.
So you got the trees singing. Here come the Lord. What they saying? Go ahead.
O give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever.
Give thanks to the Lord, For he is good, his mercy endures forever. Go ahead.
And say ye, save us, O God of our salvation, and gather us together, and deliver us from the heathen, that we may give thanks to thy holy name, and glory in thy praise. Blessed be the Lord God of Israel forever and ever. And all the people said, Amen, and praise the Lord.
And all the people said what?
Amen.
And praise
And
the Lord.
praise the Lord.
And I hope you got some understanding in Jesus' name.
We welcome you and hope today's lesson increase your knowledge of the Holy Bible. CDs and DVDs of the Sabbath lessons are available. Please place your order and donation in an offering envelope, and it will be filled on the next Sabbath. The children's class ages 3 to 5 and 6 to 12 starts at the same time as the adult Sabbath lesson in the assigned location. Bring your child so their knowledge may be increased. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Proverbs 22:6. Adult question and answer is from 4:30 to 6:30 after the Sabbath lesson. Teen forum every other Sabbath at 4:30. We have question and answer every Wednesday at 5 p.m. via telephone conference line. The number and access code are located at the top of the lesson, or see the live stream of question and answer at www.thykingdomcome7.com. If you are interested in being baptized, please place your name on the list at the reader's table. Remember to follow the dress code when attending our services. Men should remove all hats and all head coverings during the service times. Shorts are not permissible. Women should wear a head covering, such as hat or scarf, during the service. Women should not wear tight-fitting pants or skirts or revealing clothing. Attire should be modest according to the Bible. If your child becomes restless during the Bible lesson, we encourage you to remove your child from the room until he or she has settled. Your tithes and offerings are always appreciated. Please place your tithes and offerings in an offering envelope and deposit it in the offering box. Your cooperation is greatly appreciated. Again, thank you for coming, and we hope to see you on the next Sabbath. Peace.
Peace. Okay, just a couple of announcements. The homeless outreach menu. Donations needed are whole turkeys, cans of cranberry sauce. What? The items need to be delivered by December the 12th, so they can go out there on December 20th and feed the homeless. The pull-up hike for the sons of Jacob is Sunday, November 29th. The sign-up sheet is still out there on the bulletin board. Food and drink will be provided, so please sign up so they can get a head count of what they need to provide for the kids. And that'll be Sunday, November the 29th. I guess they meeting. Where's it? Are they meeting here? Anybody know? Sons of Jacob? Sons of Jacob? Well, let me, you better hurry up, it's next Sunday. Okay, well, let me talk to Fontaine and see, I'll call him and see what's going on. We have an announcement on that, probably the next Sabbath. But also, we need some water. We still need water for the class, cases of water. And the 300 meeting is still going on today. Okay, that'll be at 4:30. The women's prayers at 4:30. And we'll have question and answer at 5. And also, keep everybody in prayer during this time, and in times of trouble and in times of no trouble. We all need prayer, so keep everybody in prayer. We don't have to, unless anything specific. I don't have any names, but we all need it, so, because we all going through something. So, we don't have anybody signed up, so it's kind of up in the air right now. I got a chance to go down to see the brothers in action at the homeless ministry out there today. They've been, and they're doing a good job. They've been twisting my arm to come on out there, so they finally got me. So it's a blessing, They're doing good things for the Lord. They're feeding people spiritually and physically. So it was a blessing to be out there. And if nothing else, we're going to go ahead and close out and get something to eat and be back here. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Praise the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Praise the Lord God of Israel, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. In Jesus' name we pray. The King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Amen. Hallelujah! 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 In Jesus' name. Amen. Good reading, brother. Praise God.